Hi, I'm Mrs. Brosche. Welcome to West Ranch Engineering. This is Principles of Engineering, or POE for short, and this is the second year of the engineering pathway at West Ranch. Sorry about that. My name is Tanya Brosche. Like I said, I grew up in Chicago and had a great time there, but then decided to come out to Southern California to go to school at USC, where I got a bachelor's in math and a master's in educational psychology. I also met my husband in the Trojan Marching Band, so we're both really into USC and had a great time there. I moved him back to Chicago. We had some fun out in Chicago, but decided to move back to California to raise a family. And since we've been back, I've had 3 wonderful boys, which you can see in this picture. We're having a great time so far. Just a little bit about our engineering pathway. So last year, or maybe 2 years ago, maybe over the summer, your student probably took Intro to Engineering Design the first year of the pathway. This is, again, the second year of the pathway, Principles of Engineering. They may have skipped IED, so don't worry. If they did, that's not the end. They can still continue the pathway. Next year would be the end of the pathway. That's EDD, or Engineering Design and Development. In our year, we have the opportunity to take something called the EOC, or the end of course exam. Last year, because of COVID, they did not get to take it in IED. So if your student took IED last year, they didn't get to take the test. But this year, hopefully, we'll get to take that test. That is going to help them to show that they have proficiency in engineering, and that will look really good when they are applying to colleges. Also, if they pass that test, and then also additionally passed 2 advanced placement exams in the STEM field, then they can apply for something called the AP Plus PLTW certification. Also looks really good on those applications when they're applying to engineering schools. I like to see that a lot. As always, even though it's virtual, attendance is super important. They're going to learn a lot in this class, but a lot of it is going to be with their groups, and that can't be made up if they aren't in class. So hopefully they will attend class every time that they can, so that they can work with their groups and do all that learning. This is an elective, which sometimes can scare students away, particularly some of the students that are in this category of engineering, because they don't want the 4.0. They feel that that can maybe bring their grade average down if they are generally taking honors and advanced placement courses. Don't worry. While it is only a 4.0 for an A only, it's very prestigious, this program, and engineering universities really like to see that the students are dedicated to engineering and that they will stick with the pathway, and that means more to those universities than trying to get an honors delegation there. But with it being an elective also, the nice thing is that I try not to make it too stressful. I really want it to be engaging and fun. I want them to learn about engineering, but I don't want it to be a stressful situation. So I try not to give too much homework, and there's very few assessments. Like I said, they will take that EOC, and we will probably take a final this semester. But beyond that, it should be pretty low-key, pretty easy when you think of engineering. I mean, engineering's never easy, but it's not supposed to be a super hard, discouraging class, right? We're gonna have a lot of fun. Most of the work will be done in class. There will be some stuff they do have to do outside of class. The big key is to just stay on top of the work so that it doesn't get overwhelming trying to make up too many assignments at one time. The homework policy, again, there will be some stuff at home, more than usual, just because our classes are shorter. So when we were on campus in the past, we would have 100, 110-minute classes. We got a lot more done during class. So some of that is going to have to be done at home, but still it should not be a major amount of homework. If there are long projects, I do extend the time frames. So it's not meant to be stressful. It's not meant to be a time crunch. It's not meant to take up much of their evening, just a little bit of their time. I also do weekly surveys that I ask them to do. That's just a communication for your student and I. I want to know how they're doing, and I don't get to have those little conversations with them right now since we are virtual. So instead of having one-on-one conversations, which are harder to do right now, I ask them to complete a survey to let me know how they're feeling, what they need to do, or like what they need from me. Are they understanding what they need to understand? Is there anything I can do to help? And so that's just our little communication, but it's also worth a grade. I do accept late work and corrected work. So if they get points marked off for either being late or for being not being complete, then they can correct it. They can fix whatever they need to and get some points back for that. I want them to learn, and so I'm going to take that late work because it's better late than never. But we don't want to get overwhelming, so we don't want to get a stack of late work. That just becomes a bigger challenge for your student. In terms of academic dishonesty, it's not a big issue with this class because we don't take a lot of tests and quizzes, but I have found answer keys to our curriculum all over the internet because we use something called PLTW, or Project Lead the Way. And people will post answer keys. There's two problems with that. One is I found a lot of incorrect answer keys, and so that's not really good practice. They're definitely not learning anything if they're copying down the wrong thing. And two, theoretically they're in this class because this is what they want to do with their lives. They want to be an engineer. So I really encourage them to do the work themselves. I'd much rather have them do it themselves and be wrong, and we can redo it and get points back, than to just copy it and not learn anything. Because I really want to see, do they like what they're doing? Do they understand what they're doing? If they understand it now, it's going to be much easier later down the road. If they're copying now, it's not going to be as helpful for them when they get into college. We have a lot of resources for POE, or remember, Principles of Engineering. The first one is that we will use all the time is a website called my.pltw.org. That refers to that curriculum I was telling you about. That's a nationally known, actually worldwide known curriculum. They have all sorts of information on that website. We use that all the time. They have a password they can show you if you're interested on all the different things that we can learn on there. We also have Google Classroom, which is where I will keep all of my information for the year, all their assignments, other grades, but the grades on Google Classroom are not their final grades. I'll get to that in a minute. And also, being a virtual, we've got to have a lot more different platforms to work with. So we'll have all sorts of tools and technology that we get to play with this year. In terms of intervention, they are welcome to ask for help anytime they need it. During class is great, but also sometimes you need help outside of class. I'm usually available after school on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Wednesdays we have meetings, so those are kind of rough, but the other days I'm good. And let's say your student needs help at 5 o'clock at night, or maybe on a Saturday or Sunday. If I can make it work, I'll make it work. I can't guarantee those times, but I will do my best to help them. In terms of communication, just so you know, whenever an assignment is due, I try my hardest to get their grades in that day, just so that they get that immediate feedback. Sometimes that doesn't happen, particularly in this virtual world. Things are much more challenging to get graded and to get input into the systems. But I will always try my hardest to get it done that day. If not, generally within 2 business days, you should be able to see their grades and their feedback. Same thing goes with emails. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to email me. I usually try to get back to you that same day, but again, it may take me up to 2 business days, just depending on how hectic things are. If it's urgent, please feel free to put urgent in the subject line so that I make sure I get to that as soon as I possibly can. As I referred to a moment ago, I do put the grades in Google Classroom, but those aren't our final grades. Those are kind of just like work in progress grades. The final grades are in Infinite Campus. Sorry about that. That's fun. I have a motion detector in my classroom. The final grades are in Infinite Campus, and that's when we know that that's what their grade is. That's the grade that's going to generate their report card. So I always encourage them to make sure, are the grades in Infinite Campus and Google Classroom the same? They should be. And then if they see any discrepancies, to let me know if there's any problems. So you can check out Infinite Campus. They have apps for your phone. You can use it on the computer. You can ask your student to show you. There's lots of ways for you to take a look at Infinite Campus. By the end of this year, there's gonna be all sorts of great things they're gonna know, but here's a couple highlights. One of the things that we're working on right now are the 6 simple machines like wedge and screw and inclined plane and things like that. We're learning about those machines and their mechanical advantage, why we would use different machines to get different outcomes. We're also going to be doing a lot of hands-on things that bring physics really to life, including electricity and building bridges and things like that. I'm hoping to save some of those fun activities for getting back to campus, but if we don't get back to campus in a timely manner, we still have some great virtual activities that will still give them experience in those physics realms. So don't stress too much about that. The one thing I'm going to hold out to the very, very bitter end to make sure that we can do on campus, hopefully, is the VEX robotics. We get to build these great machines and then use Robot C to program them. It's a lot of fun, so hopefully we can do that on campus with our groups. But again, if not, there are virtual alternatives, so we've got a plan for that. And the thing that we're working on right now, hopefully they're talking to you about it, is the career field that they're really most interested in. You know, there's engineering, but there's all sorts of different specialties. And so I'm encouraging them to learn about those different fields so they can start focusing on them. They can start doing internships. They know what to apply to, which colleges specialize in aerospace versus mechanical, and things like that. So, and we're having guest speakers, which is a lot of fun. One of the benefits of being virtual is having guest speakers from all over the country. We just had one from Florida today, and learning all about their path and their journey through the engineering field. Anyway, if you have any questions at any point, I surely hope that you email me and let me know, and we will communicate. And have a great year. I'm looking forward to working with your student. Take care.